Right, ladies and gentlemen, going to start this meeting partly because I'm hoping to get to Cabinet later on this morning, where they're closing the day centre in Kingsbridge. But anyway, that's just by way of...
Do you mean county cabinet? You're not going to London?
Oh, no, God, no. No, we're going to do something useful, I'm sure. Hi, Jackie. And hi, Ben. And John. Are we on? We're all good. Welcome, everyone. Thank you very much for coming in to this special executive at this early hour, particularly those that have come from a long way away. That'd be me. Than me. Yeah, just... right, so without further ado, let's crack on with the agenda. So, agenda item 1 is urgent business. I have no urgent business to bring forward. Item agenda 2 is division of agenda. Can I just say there isn't anything in here that we need to divide the agenda about, but I think that during some of the discussions and negotiations we have talked about contract numbers, and I think it's best if we don't discuss those in open forum at this stage. So, for example, the contract that we have with Stagecoach, etc., that we don't discuss that openly. Item 3, declarations of interest, members. No, Jonathan, you're not on the committee, so you don't.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
remember.
I was worried about declaring them a ghetto interest.
That's yeah. No, that's all right, Jonathan. No, but thank you for mentioning it anyway. I think that's important. And then, so moving straight on to agenda item Dartmouth Park and Ride. I'll hand straight over to Victor if you'd like to sort of introduce.
Thank you.
But basically, I think concentrate on the. I was going to say, Victor, concentrate on the compromises that we've made, having listened to the Town Council, Chamber of Commerce, and also the local members. Thank you.
Thank you, Julian. So we try again. The recommendations remain nearly the same. There was a small change in data. 2. Are you happy with the sound? Okay. We had discussions with Dartmouth Chamber of Commerce, local ward members and the Town Council, and the officers have been working many hours to get us to where we are. So the headline issue is the sticking point of the previous occasion is that we are that were set before, and as previously proposed, there's coverage events by special buses, and there's a monthly permit, all of which are positive changes to the way of operation. The loss to the council of £154,000 a year is reduced. It is not gone entirely, and we welcome the offer by the Chamber of Commerce to support the increased use of the park and ride. And for our part, we will investigate another opportunity which we can't implement immediately, but we will be looking at the way the administrative systems can support it. The season will commence with a 2-week Easter service, and then the support of the Dartmouth Music Festival under these special buses that we will arrange as previously mentioned. And then we'll go into the core time. The 3 permits, the 12-month park and ride business permit is now 555, the 12-month personal permit 317, and the particular change, the monthly permit of £57. So that with the package that we had originally proposed and the discussions that have taken place, I hope that you'll be minded to accept the recommendations as they are on the basis of an continuing service at Dartmouth.
Thank you, Victor. Members, I'll go to any questions first, and then we'll move on to the discussion. No, I've got Ben. Was that a question you wanted to ask, or you want to wait for the discussion?
I'll wait, thank you.
Okay, right. So I've got no questions on the details or anything, and we'll move on to the debate. So, members, thoughts, ideas. Nikki.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm glad you've come to a compromise on this. I don't know if you remember, but when the council changed control to Lib Dems, I said I had your manifesto as my screensaver, and here it still is, and it remains. And whilst I realise that now you have consulted with local members, you didn't do before it came to committee, and I think you committed as a new council to consult with residents and communities, and you have failed at this one miserably. You didn't consult with local members, you didn't consult with local businesses, you didn't consult with anybody. However, after last Thursday's executive, you've now put that right, and you've had some very hurried, rushed, put together meetings and met with, I believe now, the appropriate people. There are a couple of things I still don't like. The business permit, the 12 months business permit, is going up by £342 a year. To me, that's, in fact, it's not going up by £342 a year because I've just realised my calculator didn't work properly. Hang on. It's going up by, £238 a year, which, when we're in an economic climate as we're in, for local businesses is still an awful lot of money for them to find that sort of increase. So I am disappointed that that hasn't been looked at. I also can't see, but I've read it several times, this paper, and might have overlooked it, but I can't see anywhere in here that mentions that you're going to, in the future, be looking at a locals discount, where South Hams residents in the future will be able to use any services within the South Hams, to be fair, park and ride, council-owned car parks at a discounted price. So I think that needs putting in here somewhere, that when you look at giving a locals discount to residents, you need to include the park and ride. The other thing is, yes, you've compromised at £7.50, but we are in a cost of living crisis, and to go up from £5 to £7.50, a 50% increase, is just too much at this time. I think the year for this park and ride going up is the wrong year, because this year, if things were ever going to pinch residents and if their pockets were ever going to be hurt, this year I believe it's more than ever. So I am disappointed, although that's what you've compromised at. I absolutely can't vote for it, and you'll understand why, because it's an increase that'll impact residents. I welcome the fact now that you are going to cover the festivals, and I think that's a real positive step forward. And the bus operating time, 9 till 6, I think I welcome, although I would have preferred it 9 till 7, but I can't see a problem with it. I realise there has to be a bit of give and take, but we just need to think more about the cost of businesses, to the ticket going up by £238. And also, as I say, in this economic climate, we need to attract tourists, and putting the park and ride up to £7.50, I just don't feel is an attraction for people. And I think I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikki. I don't know. There were some technical questions in there. I don't know if.
I should never have thought so.
Well, yeah. Look, I mean, we'll leave the political, to the debate. But just if there's anything that sort of queries that came up that you want to answer to. The one about the the local discount, I think, is.
So there are a number of issues that Nikki raises. The business permit increases for a business is a pound a day, in fact. The reason that we're in this position is because the previous administration didn't work with the cost of living increases over 13 years. And your challenge to a 50% increase is a result of previous activity. Good. Your nodding won't come on the microphone, but I'm glad that you understand that position. The locals discount is something to which we're considering in the long term. We need software to make it work, and yes, I think I'm there on those issues. Oh, we always did run the permits for the special events, and indeed, have the timings changed at all, Emma?
So we've always supported the events in the past, the music festival and the food festival, as well as regatta. And then for regatta on the Saturday, we supplement the service until 11 p.m.
Thank you, Victor. Jackie, and then I'll come to you, Denise.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a question really, but I think it might be something that's not been considered in the equation. I bow to the fact that maybe I've missed something, but I was just thinking about the people with free permits. You know, the pension, the senior permit that many people at residents have. I just wonder if that's been taken into account, or is that usable on the park and ride, and is that something that would actually add to the number of tariffs that would come in? Because I mean, when those passes are used on the buses, they do actually give a bit of money. There's a fee paid. I'm not quite sure what it is, but I'm just wondering if that's part of the equation, because that could be like a hidden extra that can come into this. Just to say, I fully support this compromise that's on the table, so I shall be voting for it. But I just wondered if that was an extra, like, I've previously mentioned perhaps even thinking about sponsorship from somebody like, the big supermarket that's there, or maybe even the town council if they wanted to put their hand in their pocket to try and make, because that's the design of vibrancy and the Park and Ride supports all of that for all the town. So, but that was just my question.
You're going to pick that up, Emma?
Yeah. So in terms of the National Bus Pass, during the times of operation of our service, unfortunately, it's not valid. That's an on-street pass that's available. However, if you're a passenger only wanting to come up from the bottom of town, perhaps to use the health hub, then you can use that National Bus Pass on our bus service.
Thank you. So that means there will actually be a slight tariff coming in on that. Thank you. And was that taken into account?
That's been a supplement that we've been able to negotiate with Stagecoach, that they will allow a passenger only ticket on the bus service that wasn't valid before.
Thank you.
Denise.
Thank you. Yes, I'm glad that we have, listened to the community and made these changes. We had the Town Council and the Chamber of Commerce at the previous meeting. We've had all the ward members engaged from Dartmouth, and we've made this compromise, as has been said, and I welcome that. And I also think a discount for locals on top of the monthly permit for seasonal workers is a good idea if we can manage to work that one out. So I do welcome this, and it looks like the scheme can be flexible. We can include Easter and monitor the system and see how it goes. I don't wish to be personal at all, but I must note, following Councillor Hopwood's comments, that when we first saw the report, she didn't actually say anything. She didn't say any of that initially, so one would have assumed she was happy with it. She has subsequently criticised it, but I'm just noting that fact. So, yes, welcome the compromise. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise. Local members, is there anything you wanted to add? Jed, Jonathan, Ben? All right, Ben, I'll go to Ben first because he has had his hand up. Sorry, I didn't see that. Put my glasses on. Yeah, Ben.
Hi, the sound isn't very good, so I hope you can hear me. done. I've also had a message from Joe and Laura from the Chamber of Commerce just to pass on their thanks as well. I just want to, I've raised it on the email, I just want to raise it again. Obviously, for regatta, you charge more. So I'm guessing that's going to go up to £12.50. Can Emma just confirm that?
No, we don't. In previous years, before in the past, we did increase the price for regatta, but we don't do that anymore. We haven't done that for the last couple of years. It stays at the same price.
Does it? I'm pretty sure it went up to £10 last year.
No, it didn't.
Well, what you do know, Ben, is it won't be going up this year, and it won't be going up in subsequent years.
Okay. Obviously, Dark Music Festival, the music goes on to about 10 o'clock at night. And what we find, and what we've always found, is that the local 90 service ends up being overwhelmed by people trying to get back up to a park and ride, which makes it almost impossible for people who live up in Townstall and up the top of the hill to get back up. So often they end up walking up or end up being kind of stranded for ages. Is there any way we could extend the service for Dartmouth Music Festival, even if it's just on like the Friday, Saturday night of that? My next question would be, my next note would be, I hope you do take forward my idea regarding the Lower Ferry and Park and Ride joint pass. Hopefully you can look into that. And I know that Councillor Hodgson mentioned sponsorship. It might be worth talking to Whitbread to see whether or not they could be willing to sponsor the Park and Ride in return to maybe a supplementary ticket for their guests or something. Maybe that's something you could look forward to. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. And also, I'd just like to say a personal thank you for your suggestion about the combined Lower Ferry Park and Ride. I think that's an excellent idea, and it's absolutely something we would have tried to bring it in this time, but there was just complications because it was two different systems. But you can rest assured that I'm very much hoping this time next year we can announce that exactly we've done that. We'll call it Ben's Pass. That's what it is. Right, but and then Emma, I don't know if you wanted to talk about the music festival. Is there a possibility there, or isn't there? I mean, I presume if it as you know, Ben, we subsidise the regatta week with an extra, I think it's about £4,000–5,000. So I'm presuming that if we did the same for the Dartmouth Music Festival, it would be the same. So that is a cost. But if I don't know how the music festival's funded or whether sponsorship they get, but I think I like your ideas about sponsorship. But anyway, I'll just pass over to Emma if I might, or Chris about that.
Thanks, Julian. I think the report's really clear that we want to support the events, and that if other events come to light or individual events want to discuss a more bespoke service, that offer has always been and will continue to be open. I think it would be rash to make any commitment at this stage before we understand quite what the ask is, quite what the patronage figures are, because a pragmatic, sensible solution that supports the visitor economy, supports the events, is what we would want to see happen. But obviously, we don't want to write a blank check in this meeting. So I think a conversation with the organisers would, I'm sure, lead to a positive outcome.
Okay.
So that's not a no, is it? So that's
no.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Good, Ben. Jed, do you want to? Yeah.
Well, overall,
microphone, Jed. Overall, I welcome the proposals. I recognise that there's been compromises that support locals, and also the monthly pass is very much welcome. I recognise that you're doing your best to accommodate the festivals and the tourism. So that's really good. Looking forward to the Health and Wellbeing Centre, it would be good to make sure that we can ensure that access to the health services during that review is properly reviewed and we understand the facts and figures. But overall, I'm really impressed. Well, I'm really happy now at the collaboration that's now taking place between all the different parties. It's really important. I speak as a Dartmouth Town Councillor and as a South Hams. We've got the Chambers of Commerce in there. We're bringing in different opinions from different groups. And I'm really, really happy to see that that is going to take place, and there'll be more dialogue during the year. So that's brilliant. So I also, at the same time, recognise the increasing costs that are associated with the park and ride and the service that's been delivered. But overall, I thank you for the work you've been doing and for the compromises that have been reached.
Thank you, Jed. That's very generous of you. Thank you. Jonathan.
I'm going to be equally as generous. Can I thank the executive for listening to the Dartmouth Chamber of Commerce and the local members, and also the town council meeting, which you very quickly arranged for Monday, which I do appreciate you for. I do think you've listened to a lot of what was brought up at that meeting. There's a few tinkering bits that we can do, hopefully in the autumn, so ready for next year, so that we can perhaps have meetings perhaps something like October onwards to actually bring this forward to what we want, because the Health and Wellbeing Centre, and I know this is not part of this, but it still needs to be resolved and actually made really good. Park and Ride, we need to actually make certain that when you actually come into Dartmouth, that the Park and Ride looks welcoming and is well signposted, because one of the problems with Dartmouth is, funnily enough, we haven't got enough parking. I didn't realise that until recently, I'm joking. But also from sorry, well, I was actually thinking the other day, why don't we put Park and Ride in Kingswear? I was thinking that the other day, actually, but you can just imagine it. Oh, now you've thrown me. Thank you, Julian. Well, we may have a lady there who could help. I'm not saying that. Park and Ride. I think if we actually advertised it better from the two ferries, because it isn't very, very clear that there is even a Park and Ride at the top of town. So I think that needs to be really bright and colourful, and, you know, come to the Park and Ride, no parking in town, almost similar to like the St Ives kind of remit to a certain extent. So I think the charge is fair. I would obviously prefer to see it at the zero price, but we can't obviously do that, and I understand that. But we must remember that for the last 4 years, the executive member for parking was your leader for 2 of those years, and council has always gone on what in the past is what the executive member felt was best for his portfolio, which I'm sure is going to continue to say that. So, you know, Councillor Baldry was an excellent, hard-working, dedicated district councillor for very many years, and also was a county councillor for 4 years, I believe, and he was a great guy. And, you know, he was in charge of the remit, and it was his decision on what he did, not necessarily all of us. So can I just thank you, Julian, very much for that. I think it is a way forward, but let's make the Park and Ride look really good, welcoming to Dartmouth, welcoming to the South Hams, and really signpost it, because we've got lots of possibilities up at the Park and Ride for actually publicising it properly. You know, you've got that huge conning tower, helicopter tower there. You could put some nice signage on that to actually say this is where we go to Park and Ride for Dartmouth. So thank you, Julian.
No, and thank you, Jonathan. And all I say, I mean, I understand from Keith that he was so busy trying to sort out the rubbish. But, but anyway, no. Look. Victor, are you happy to propose that?
Yes, I propose the recommendations.
Recommendations as they are. Can I have a seconder for that? Denise is happy to second it. I'll just say a few comments. First of all, on the consultation, Nikki, you're absolutely right, and I put my hands up. We singularly failed on that, but these are lessons learned, and it will not happen again. Okay, and I think that considering what happened there, we've done a pretty good job in consulting as widely as possible, and the fact that the Chamber of Commerce, the Town Council, the local members feel engaged now is good. But you're right. We should have been having that discussion a month ago. We didn't. We realised the mistake. You realised the mistake, and therefore we that's why we're here today. So I'm not going to try and pretend that somehow it was, because it wasn't right, and we got it right this time. The local discount you talk about, absolutely, we're looking to increase car parking charges, but we're looking to do it in a way that it will cost less for locals and more for visitors, sort of through the back door, and we need technology for that. So using technology, and absolutely that will apply to the park and ride as well. I do think that cost of living, I get that, but I think that some of the really good aspects of this paper, for example, the monthly permit, mean that those who are seasonal workers, who traditionally are lower paid, are actually going to get a much cheaper park and ride permit than they ever got before. So actually, I think in that sense, we've helped them. We've also really helped that there will be a much easier access for those people who don't even own a car to get from Dartmouth up to the health hub and be able to use. So I think those are some of the benefits that where we are trying to support those that need us the most. You know, I accept no one likes prices going up, but I think that you know, we all understand that that is the case, and 750 I think is a good compromise. That we've come down, you know, that's a 25% decrease from what we were suggesting. So I think, you know, we've listened and we've learned on that. Personally, I think it's an excellent package for the South Hams and the South Hams taxpayer, and I think it's a good deal for Dartmouth actually. Working with the community now, that's the way forward, as Jed has suggested. I think that we're going to get this right, and we're going to get parking and the transport systems around Dartmouth right. I'm confident we're going to do that, and just finally, I'd just like to say a personal thanks to Victor for working so hard and getting the compromises sorting this out, and particularly Emma, who I think has done a fantastic job in her negotiations with Stagecoach to get the best deal that we could do for Dartmouth. And you know, we're very lucky to have you, Emma, and I think you've done a great job. And I hope that we can replicate this kind of compromise and community involvement across the South Hams when it comes to parking and other issues. Thank you all. So anyway, we've had it proposed and seconded. Can I see if those all in favour, please show?
That's 5 in favour. Thank you, Leader.
And those against?
With 1 against. Thank you, Leader.
Okay, that is carried. Thank you all very much. And I now call the meeting to an end. Thank you all for being here.